Okay, good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me know if you guys can hear my audio and see my screen in the chat box. Just give me a little Y or a yes there. Just let me know that it's working. Hope everybody's having a fantastic morning so far. I'm looking forward to trading with you guys today. Let's jump into our disclaimer. As always, I need to remind you guys about the risks involved in this market. You can lose all or more than your initial investment if you're not careful. So please be aware of how many pips you're risking on each trade, in addition to how big your lot size is, and ultimately how that would affect your account. All right, guys, so let's check the news. There wasn't a lot of news last night that I was aware of. I checked overnight, and then really, yeah, today's just kind of a quiet day, and there's really not anything until tomorrow, and even then, tomorrow's not even a huge deal. So pretty much all the news events for the year are over, but it is just something to check anyways, right? All right, so since we have that out of the way, let's go see what bankers close opportunities are available. Let's go to the, I'm going to check the Euro Franc first. Let's go down to a 5-minute chart. Let's pull up those Bollinger Bands. Yeah, this one is currently setting up, at least in terms of the Bollinger Band. That's coming up into some resistance here. That could be a good thing. Let's see the Euro Pound. This one's actually coming into some support, interestingly enough, and it's even got some areas where I think buys could, some buy blocks here that you could use. Let's see. I'm just curious to see if those show up on the 15-minute or on the 30. Yeah, they show up right here. How far away is that? That's 8 pips. That's not bad. That's not bad. Okay, so that could be an opportunity. Let's look at the pound franc. This one's ripping and roaring to the upside, hitting the upper Bollinger Band. That could come down. Let's see if there's any help, though. The next layer of help on this one would be up here, which is not terrible, but something to think about if this thing goes higher. And that's actually not bad at all either. So, and I like that I'd be trading with the trend if I took that one. I'd be trading in the direction of this market. Let's see this. Okay, so this has a block right here where I drew it, basically, and that's not far. Yeah, I almost like this one the most, guys, the pound franc. I kind of get excited when I look at this one. Yeah, I think I might jump into that one today, switch it up a little bit, do a little pound franc. Let me pull that up here. So yeah, this is coming down to a 5-minute chart again. And we're just trying to, here, let me just jump into these trades real quick and then we'll talk more. Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and get a starter position built up here. Short on the pound franc. Okay. Okay, so now that I'm in, I can talk a little more casually, I guess, and a little more in detail to what my thoughts are here. So, so a lot of this analysis again was done on TradingView, right? So it is hitting an upper Bollinger Band on a 5-minute chart, right? So if you go back to the 5-minute, you can see we're puncturing that upper Bollinger Band. That's a traditional signal, right? So that would be good. And then on top of that, you've got, if you come out to a little bit of a higher time frame, you've got this block right here, very close, like nearby, right? So if this thing wanted to keep going up, you've got a lot of help in this area that could help us fix the trade if it went bad. That's kind of what happened yesterday with the Euro Pound. Not that the trade went bad necessarily, it's just that it didn't go in our favor in the way that we wanted it to in the hour. And so when that happens, and it does happen often, we do want to have a game plan as to how we're going to manage out of the trade. And if we surround ourselves around these blocks, these sell blocks or buy blocks, depending on the direction that we're going, often that's going to be our support or the help that we need to repair the trade if it comes to it. And so that's why I'm trying to find those types of zones. And so I drew out my own zone here. Turns out it happens to be right inside of a block that Sonar Lab identified. And then I have some other blocks up here that I identified in the past. And sure enough, yeah, there's a lot of selling pressure up there. So, so when we have all those things layered in our favor, it makes the trade look even more attractive. So I'm looking forward to it. Let's go to, okay, so like I said, I'm just gonna, yeah, I've got a small short built in here. Where am I gonna add to the trade if it goes against us to do that concept? So probably basically right up in here. That's where I'm gonna add to the position. So let's come up here and see what that looks like on a, I think I did a 30-minute chart. And I'm going to add to the position. Let me zoom in a little bit more. This is basically a banker's candle right here. And so this would be a good area to add more sells if the trade went against us. So I'm going to leave the current trades that I have on today. But yeah, if it comes up into here, I'll go ahead and add to the position because this is an extremely good selling area right up here. Okay. And again, there is no news with this pair at all. So I don't expect this market to do anything insane today. It could be slow. Yeah, absolutely. Slow is going to be the name of the game during the holidays, right? It's just going to happen, right? So I like that. I do think there is a chance too that it could continue higher. Just one quick analysis here. If you come over here, you'll notice yes, there are lower lows and there are lower highs, but I think even more recently, this high is technically higher than this high. We don't have a low that is higher than a previous low, so that's good in terms of us being short. But just because this is a pretty convincing move to the upside here, I do think it is very likely that we come up into here and then we get our move that we want. So just be aware of that and don't be surprised if it does come up into this area. Like, so some of the trades that we're in right now, I could definitely see us being down, 10, 15, maybe max 20 pips on those trades before we get the help that we need on this trade. So just be aware of that. But otherwise, where should our targets go? Because I'm obviously planning like worst case scenario at this moment, which I think is a good thing to do, especially when you initiate a trade. Think worst case scenario, like where could this thing go against me if things don't work out? So now that I've kind of talked about worst case and what our plan is going to be if worst case happens, where do we go if this trade just goes in our favor? So traditionally, when you're trading the banker's close strategy, you want to look on the 5-minute chart for the mid Bollinger Band for a target. So somewhere around here would be a good target. Also, I like to accompany that mid Bollinger Band with demand if I can find demand. There's actually not a lot of demand in this area. The next demand is actually all the way down here. I mean, you could argue that this is also some demand right here. I don't know if that's too close to the current price of the market. So I think I would look for something down here. So a regression back into here, which is almost where my targets are in the first place. Let's bring some of these up though. And we'll target in this area right here. And it's starting to work out, like obviously it's coming down, so that's good, right? So I've got up 20, 30 pips right now. Let's see if that continues. It would be nice to get out of the trade and just make our money in the webinar today. Which, by the way, we're going to recap yesterday's trade and how it worked out and what we did, maybe what we could have done differently next time, all that kind of stuff. I just want to get all this stuff in right now. You know what? I'm just going to scatter all of these throughout this, almost this entire area, because this one's not as clear as to where we should target. There's not a really obvious supply demand zone on here. So we'll just let this market come and do what it wants here. Okay, so we'll work with that. Wait for that move down. Yes, I am still in the Aussie Kiwi from last night. It looks like it hasn't done much. It has not done much, but we'll talk about that trade as well. Maybe we'll talk about that one next. But yeah, I'm still in it. I actually added another trade. I'm short on the CAD yen, and that's actually a trade I wanted to post for you guys to take. So that might be good to talk about that one too. But so everyone's clear on this, so this is the banker's close trade. I know we got a lot of new eyes, and so I want to make sure everyone's kind of aware of what this is. So when you're trading the banker's close, what we're looking at here is the phenomenon is this: in the next 50 minutes, so at the top of the hour, the London market's going to close today. And what happens is in that last half or in that last hour of trading, the London banks have to reconcile positions. They have to close out margin calls. They have to reconcile margin calls. They have to close out positions, whatever they got to do. And so if the market kind of makes kind of a larger move like this one, that one's 44 pips at the end of the trading day, often the market will pull back from that move, and then you can get kind of a return to the median and take some profits on that. And then what we do is we try to find, obviously we like to trade with the trend of the market, which we're doing here. And then in addition to trading with the trend, we're looking for areas of supply and demand where we can get some help if the trade goes against us. In this case, if the trade went against us all the way up into here, we're going to get a lot of help from the banks up in this area to pull the market back down. If and then the other things too, you're using the Bollinger Bands on the 5-minute chart. If you're hitting an upper Bollinger Band or a lower Bollinger Band in that last hour of trading, typically you're going to get a pullback from that, which we've already seen. I just don't think it's done yet. But again, it is possible that this market tries to make another rally up into here. And again, I stand by that. So I want you guys to be prepared in case it does, but have the confidence to know that this is a good area to sell if it were to get up there. Yeah, up into here would be good to sell at. And then another area, I don't think it'll go this far, but basically this area would be a phenomenal selling area right there. I think that would be kind of crazy for the market to go all the way to there today. I don't know. I don't think it would. That would be pretty far, because that would have to go from where the current price is now. That would have to go 45 pips against us still to get up into this area. I don't think it would, but just something to be aware of. All right, so great. So yeah, we'll let this trade sit and do its thing. And again, I'm not interested in selling more unless it gets up into here. So just have that as a plan. I'm going to add a few more up here actually. All right, let's talk about the Aussie Kiwi. Now that we've got all that figured out. So this trade recently started. So here, let's actually, it's all on Trading View. That's where I did all my analysis. So let's go over here. Let's go out to a hourly, and let's get rid of some of this stuff because we don't need it all. Okay, so here's the trade. So last night, I was looking at the market, and this Aussie Kiwi has made some huge strides to the upside here. Obviously not last night, but the night before, our trade was a buy right here, and we got out somewhere right here. And then the market went up a little bit more. And then I saw this and I was like, oh, this might even continue because it broke past this supply area right here. In addition to it being in a supply area, all of this is demand. or yeah, so you have demand down here, all these demand boxes pushing this up. They have another demand box here, another one here, and yet another one here, right? And so they are trying to push this even higher. I don't know if you guys know much about carry trades. So a lot of people were using the Aussie Kiwi as a carry trade. A lot of banks were using this as a carry trade as a short position against the yen specifically. And so since the yen had its rate statement the other day, and they announced that they're going to be selling US treasuries to raise capital, that actually sent the yen going up. But that's why you've seen the dollar yen go down, because the dollar's down, the yen is up, right? And this subsequently lost its carry trade incentive, if that makes sense. And no one's really interested in selling this anymore. And that's where this big move came from right here. So it obviously broke through this demand here, and it looks like it's going to go to the next demand area, which is, or excuse me, supply area, which is up here. There's no supply until all the way up here. And so I am looking to sell, or excuse me, buy the Aussie Kiwi up into here. I'm down, let's see, since I got in last night on this trade, I am down, I'm only down 6.5 pips, right? Like I'm down a very small amount of money. But yes, and I'm still hanging on. Like I'm not getting rid of this trade. I think this is just a short-term pullback right here, similar to what you saw right here. And I do think it's going to finish out. I think it's going to find its way to this next supply. So I'm still holding this trade. I'm not done with it. And like I said, I'm only down 7 pips on that trade right now. But yeah, it looks good. And if you think about it, right, this is kind of that we talk about how you're on a road trip and how the market moves from one gas station to the next gas station. And when it's on the straightaway or on the freeway, the market doesn't make a lot of stops, right? So this is a gas station right here, right? That's a pit stop. That's a supply demand area. And then the next supply demand area is this up here. And everything in between this right here, there's no like real pit stop for the market. So we really shouldn't see a massive pullback in the market from just this. I don't see why. I mean, obviously it's pulled back a little here, but you shouldn't see a overall market moving pivot that will last, because it didn't stop inside a supply and demand zone. So we should see this thing continue higher. In my opinion, you should see this continue higher. And yeah, I'm not giving up on this trade at all, right? Obviously, earlier last night, there was a point last night when I was up on this trade from where I got in. You know, I was up 33 pips at one point last night, which was awesome, right? And then it's, like I said, it's pulled back since, but I'm definitely not done with this guy. So other things to talk about on this trade that kind of got us into it in the first place, besides the fact that you've got such a stack of order blocks along the way up, propping this market up. We talked about the carry trade concept, which you guys can Google search and look that up. What that is, it's not a huge deal. It's not something you have to know to be able to trade it, but it's an interesting phenomenon I didn't even know about it until last night. I was just trading price action, and then I read up on it last night and I was like, oh, I guess that's another reason why this has gone up like it has. Because I don't know if you guys have been following this. If you look at this from like a 3 hour or maybe higher time frame, this thing has been coming down like crazy. Like for the last couple of months, it's just been coming down. So this is the first real solid move that's broken a lot of structure to the upside here. And I do think you're going to see follow through at least to the next supply. And then at that point, who knows what's going to happen. But that's my plan, is just to ride it to the next supply zone, which is up here. It's like 80 pips away. And so that's kind of what we talked about yesterday. don't be careful, be confident. So that's what I'm being confident in, is I have a lot of confidence that this will find its way to the next supply. And then at that point, I'm not confident, so I'm gonna just get out, right? Because but that's what I am confident with. All right, guys. So what else are we doing here? The other thing I liked about this was you have this low, and then you have another low right here that's higher than the previous low. Obviously, this high is much higher than the previous high here, and the high here, and the high over here. So we are definitely starting to make advances to the upside. Make no mistake, right? That is, obviously it looks like it's in a bearish trend, but with these recent developments, it's starting into a bull trend. And we're some of the first people to identify this, which is kind of exciting. Okay. So yeah, I'll stick in that. Unless I see something else that I should be aware of or that I'm a little bit nervous about, I'll let you know. But for now, I'm staying in that trade. Okay, so the other trade that I've taken, and I want to show you this one, and I took this one this morning. I was thinking about taking it last night, but I think it still looks pretty good, is I'm actually short the CAD yen right now. Um, um, there's a lot of reason for this trade, basically. One of the things that got me really excited about shorting this is if you pull up SonarLab, you had this huge move down from that rate statement with the yen the other day, right? That's what this huge bar is, right? Huge move down. And then we have this sell order block that formed, and then you have a second one that formed inside it. And so we know the banks have sold since this. So not only were they selling up here, you can see all their sells. These are the banks selling up here. Not only were they selling up there, but they've continued their sell orders as it's come down. So they're not really looking to say, oh, hey, this market's down here, I guess we should buy now. No, they're thinking like, hey, this isn't done yet. Like, hey, this should probably continue lower. That's kind of the expectation that's been laid out here. And yeah, if you pull up some higher time frames, like, I don't know, let's try a 4H. I guess that technically is a buy block right there, but maybe it's even the D1. No, D1 doesn't have it. But two, yeah, I guess if you go to the 2-hour time frame, you just have one sell block here, which is fine. But then the next buy blocks are kind of far away. They're all the way down here. This is where the next demand is going to be, is all the way down here. So if it's all the way down here, then this market at minimum has another, at minimum, this thing has another 200 pips to go, right? To the downside. Okay, the other thing I like, head back to the 1H. Look at these highs right here, most recent highs. So this high, so we're looking for clues, right? So here's a clue that I see. So this high that formed about 3 hours ago is lower than this high right here, okay? And this high is lower than this high over here. And so subsequently these highs are getting lower. This low is lower than this low. Technically, this low is higher than this low right here, but I don't know if that means enough to get us too excited. You're always going to have a few of those in there. But the fact that you're seeing lower highs, mostly lower highs, a couple of lower lows, and the fact that you've got sell order blocks right here built in, I don't see how this market's going to come back up to here. Like, and if you look at the news on the yen right now, they're trying to strengthen the yen. So because they're in a big situation, like I've been watching a lot of stuff. It looks like the federal government of Japan is in like a situation where they might have to issue like a margin call to save their bond market. and all sorts. It's like really bizarre. It's crazy stuff, and it's happening in the middle of these holidays, which I think is crazy. But if that's the case, you're going to see this continue lower from what they did right here from their announcement. They're not done. They're not joking around. So since we know they're not joking around, I think a move to the downside is probably going to continue. Not only going to continue, but the price action is whispering that to us. Like, yeah, if you look closer on the price action, the way everything's forming, it just looks like it wants to continue that low to the downside. And you probably have all the way until here before you'd find any level of support. So I already have a couple of sales on here. I'll probably issue one for you guys to take as well, just a more formal one with a formal stop loss and take profit. But I just wanted to share that idea with you guys in the class here, so you guys could be some of the first to see it. I was thinking about it last night. I kind of wish I did, but it's okay. Like it was a little bit of a higher price. I'm just glad it didn't get demolished last night, because it totally could have. Now at this point, is that huge move, that 200 pip move, going to happen before Christmas? Probably not. Probably not, right? Like we just have to recognize one thing, and this is probably a good point to bring this up. Like we have what, today and then tomorrow of trading left. That's it, right? And then there's Christmas, and then next week the markets are just going to be like so darn slow. Like you're not going to see a lot of momentum at all in the markets next week. In fact, Monday, the banks are closed here in the United States, and I think most places around the world they're still closed on Monday. So Monday we won't even be having a class. Tuesday we'll definitely do it, and Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but it's just going to be really slim pickings on what we do. It's going to be a little harder to trade. So another thing too, I want to just make sure you guys are aware of, like trading right now, yes, it's possible, and we're going to plunge forward and keep going, but it is one of those times where you do have to be a little bit more like, we're not trying to get rich overnight during these days, last days of the year. We're going to be really focused on regular price action back to the regular markets that we know coming January 2nd and 3rd and beyond that, going forward in 2023. That's what I'm really excited for, is more of those types of movements, because ever since this news event, the markets really struggled to push this lower. Now, I think they've whispered to us that when the markets come back online, if this move doesn't happen before the end of the year, I imagine that the first week or two in January, this is on the bank's agenda, is to send this pair lower. There's other pairs that look pretty good too. Like you can look at, I think the euro yen looks decent for a short. Yeah, you're getting lower highs here. It does not look bullish, guys. Like I want you guys to recognize this kind of stuff. Look at the price action. Look how the candlesticks are forming. You've got candlesticks that are getting thinner and lower highs than the previous highs. Yes, you do have some higher lows here, but they're getting thinner. Okay, that's not a good sign if you're a bull, right? Look at the pound yen. This is actually even worse. Like it's definitely lining up for a sell. In fact, it's already given way. Like they've sold up here, they've sold again here. This thing probably has to go at least to here before you'd find any confluence. So that's another 175 pips down. So I want you guys to recognize this kind of stuff, because this is not, when you have a market that comes down into a support level like this, into a demand area, and it's not holding itself up, it's not just bouncing off. What you want to see is something like this, where it came down, bounced off immediately. The fact that this market has come down and it's hanging out down here, it's hanging out at support. Hanging out at support is not a good time to buy. Okay. If markets are going to break off of support and go up, they're going to do them pretty quickly. Okay. But if the market's like, hey, I'm coming down here and I'm here to stay, it's going to the next basement. Okay, the next basement's coming. It's in the basement already, but it's going to make another basement below that basement, right? So all of these all of these sister and cousin pairs are doing the same thing right now. Let's see the NZD yen. Yeah, even worse here. Look at this. This one not only it's making even lower lows. Sure, you can claim that there's a buy box right here. I don't know how significant that is. You've got two big ones up here that are pushing this lower. This guy looks even worse. Kiwi yen. This is just about ready to fall apart. This is one of those things you just do not want to buy. Do not buy this. And I know the average retail trader probably is. They're in big trouble right now buying this. This is going to be a sell. This thing's going to keep going down, and all of them are lining up. I almost like this one better. In fact, this is actually a pattern I used to trade. I don't like to trade patterns. I trade more price action, not patterns. But yeah, if you wanted to draw a pattern out, technically this is a descending wedge pattern, and those typically break to the downside anyways. Again, I don't like to teach those. I don't believe in them. I used to believe in them, and anyway, sometimes they work. That's all I'm saying. But in terms of price action, it's looking good. Look, lower highs. Every high is lower than the previous high. We're getting lows that are lower than the previous low, right? So, like I would say, things are looking good for another short here. So you could do this one. You could do the CAD yen. They're all lining up pretty well for a good old short. In fact, I almost I really like this Kiwi yen. It's not looking good for the bulls here. Like, let's go to a 2H. Let's go to 2H. Yeah, I mean, the only reason why it stopped here is because there's a little bit of demand right here, but it's hanging out at demand. You don't want markets that hang out at demand. If they're hanging out, it's a bad sign, right? So the next level we have to go really isn't even until like down here. So same thing with this guy. You probably have another 163 pips to go on this, and then you're done. You've made your money on this trade. That's amazing. Yeah, let's do a 3H. Yeah, look at the 3H. There's 2 or 3 sell blocks in here, and the buy blocks are not even until down here. Yeah, I feel like that's just almost not guaranteed, but a very secure 114 pips you can go, 120 pips you can go to the downside. So again, if you're a buyer on this, switch directions now, get those close those buys, turn them into sells. There's not much time left, right? And like I said, all the sister pairs to this are doing the same thing. So NZD yen, pound yen, CAD yen, euro yen, they're all doing the same thing, right? Some better than others. I think the one that I liked, now that I look at it closer, this is the one I like the most now. Just because, yeah, if you zoom in, there's no question that we're making lower lows, no question that we're making lower highs on every front. And no question that these are all sell blocks pushing this lower. Yes, there is a little buy block here. I don't think that matters. And why it also doesn't matter, because the market's just hanging out here. If it really liked the buy block, it would just bounce off of it and go back up. But no, this market's coming in and making a home here in the basement. So if it's making a home in the basement, it's just going to make another basement and go lower. So be ultra careful with this type of thing. Okay. Anyway, and ultra confident that this is going to ultra careful if you're a buyer, right? But and ultra confident if you're a seller, right? All right. So I like that one. I actually like that one probably the most. I might actually post that one as a signal instead. Let's go work on this guy over here. Let's go back to the pound franc. It looks like it is breaking up right now, which is fine. I had a kind of kind of a feeling that it would do that. So it's kind of broken up into the area that we thought we would find some, we'll find some supply up here. So I'm going to sell just a couple more up in here. And then really, yeah, basically just all through this region up here, we should find some good supply up in here. And so that's going to be my work. That's what I'm going to work on today is, you know, it's going to be a similar trade to yesterday. In fact, this would be a good time to chat about the trade from yesterday. So you're just, you know, you're taking the trade like normal. Here's the here's the upper Bollinger Band. You've obviously you execute a sell when you hit that upper Bollinger Band. Now that we're at well, we're still at an upper Bollinger Band, which is good, but now we're specifically at a kind of a legitimate sell zone. This is where you want to really get those trades in, and then hopefully, you know, either break even on some of these down here or make small profits on these, but then win big on these trades up here. So let me show you the trade from yesterday, how that played out. So let me actually go to Trading View, and let's go to the Euro Pound, and we can talk about, because this looks like it's going to be the same thing from yesterday. So if you go to Trading View, go to 5-minute chart, let's go ahead and delete all this other stuff. Let's go to yesterday's trade. I'm going to throw on the sessions indicator to show where the London market was yesterday. Yeah, here it is. So yesterday, we started selling this guy. I'm not exactly sure exactly where, but it was basically like right here is where we started selling, somewhere around here. And so this is the last hour of trading. This green area represents the London session. So naturally, this is the last hour of trading. And we just basically built a position into some supply. And if you look at this high up here on a higher time frame, we talked about this yesterday, that was a pretty extreme sell zone on a higher time frame. So we knew that we were going to get some help up there. And so that's why I felt comfortable selling here at maybe not the most optimal selling price, because we knew that we were going to get help up here, right? We wouldn't have done that. We wouldn't have taken that sell because it really wasn't the best price sell unless we knew we were going to get some help later, right? And it's a very similar thing to what we just did with the pound franc. It might actually be just almost deja vu, right? So we sold more up here, and then as this market pulled back later in the day, we actually had a couple of pullbacks. Yeah, like either here or here, I can't remember. But what we did is we basically closed out of the winners for profit, and then the losers either got out at break even or small losses. So you have these ones that aren't priced as well here. And okay, so if let's say let me draw a line here. So let's say you got in right here to sell, and that's not as good. You sell more up here as this market comes down throughout the afternoon and evening. You can close those out for profit. And then the ones that break even or the ones that are down can close out for very small losses, and again, or break even, and then you take all the profits on the winners, and that's how you successfully close out a banker's close trade that doesn't necessarily close out in the same hour. And that's exactly what we're doing with the pound franc right now is, hey, we did everything right. Like obviously banker's close says, hey, if you're in that last hour of trading and you hit the upper Bollinger Band like we did right here, go ahead and start selling this thing. And then if that doesn't work out right away, which it started to, but that didn't get to our targets, if that doesn't work, what you're doing is you're looking for the next supply demand area, which is this one. And we're selling up in here with the idea that later in the day, or right away, it could be later, it could be right away, or whenever this happens, you'll get your pullback into, what you're looking for is like a break-even price on these guys to close you're basically negotiating with the market and saying, hey, I'm going to close these ones out at break even or very small losses, but I'm going to take really big profits on these guys up here. That's kind of the concept in a nutshell. Okay, so that is kind of the plan at this point with this trade setup. Let's see, what else do I wanted to cover? Yeah, we're just gonna have to wait. A move like this at the end of the trading day typically isn't justified. So you're kind of just saying, you're just calling the market's bluff right here. You're saying, hey, obviously end of trading day, there's no news, a 60 pip move. Come on, market, you can't do that. Like, that's insane. There's no news. What are you doing? Right? You're coming up into some supply here. At some point here, it's going to find some trouble. If it goes beyond that, which it could, where would the next supply be? And it appears that the next supply would probably be kind of in this area. This would be kind of the next one. And so, yeah, if the market got up to there, we might consider adding a few more final sells, but then that would be it. And then at that point, I'd probably stop out if I don't think it would. It's kind of crazy if it did, but basically above this pivot or this pivot here is where I'm going to stop out of these trades if it goes that far. That's where I'll stop out. But yeah, with the fact that you have no news right now, end of trading day, you're coming into some supply zones, I really think it'd be very difficult for this market to keep up what it's doing long term, I guess. So should get what we want soon. All right, so anyway, I'm glad that yesterday happened the way it did, because in fact, I think I can actually go to the euro pound here and plot the trade so you guys can see it. So yeah, if I come over here, you guys can see, I think you guys should be able to see the trade. Let me go ahead and plot this. I have a really cool tool on this platform where you can actually see the trades I've taken in the past and see how it played out. So if I click OK, all the trades I've taken on this will show up here. Any second now, they should show up. Oh, I know why. It's because I took it on my other funded account. So it's not going to be on here. Oh, okay, never mind. But yeah, long story short, our initial sells were kind of in this area. The market went up, we sold more. And then as it pulled back into this area or into this net, we actually had a few opportunities. Your last opportunity to sell was right here, or to close out, I mean, to cover your short. Your last opportunity was here. You had one right here. You had a second opportunity here and a third opportunity here. So the market was kind of nice to us to give us multiple exits, right? Because you have all these trades up here that are sells, and you have sells right here too. But you can close here, you can close here, or somewhere in between. And yeah, that's so you're basically just arcing over at the end of the trading day. And then you're just basically saying, hey, market, I know that you were a little too hot today. You're a little too hot. And you're just waiting for that pullback at the end of the trading day. Now, we don't do this. We don't look for this phenomenon at other times of the day. I don't look for it back here. I don't look for it over here. I look for it pretty much right at the end of the trading day, because if it does it right at the end with no news associated, almost not always, but most of the time, you're going to get that pullback that you need. So, and let's see, this was a trade. This was the euro pound from a couple days ago. We sold right there. Got out right there. Looks like it could have gone a lot more than that. And actually, let's look at this. I'm just curious. I want to just look at this euro pound because we've thought about this one as a potential trade. With this one, yeah, this is kind of a demand area, so maybe we see something there. But the next demand would be down here. So if I were trading this euro pound as a buy for the banker's close instead, which some of you might be, I'd probably be really interested in a reversal right here. Yeah, right in this area is a great area. Why is this a great area? Because this was the last consolidation right here before this massive breakout that broke structure, right? So this is a structure point. The market broke that. It totally got disrespected. How did it happen? Oh, it's from whatever happened right here. So if this market pulls back into here, this would be a phenomenal area to buy in, right in here. And then it could go up from there, right? That would be the concept. Which if this one keeps going down, that should send the pound franc up a little bit higher, which it has done a little bit. So I actually kind of been thinking, yeah, this might actually go up a little bit before we get the move we want. So this is going to be a little bit of a ride today, little bit of a ride. Does that mean I want to be a buyer now? No, not at this hour, not at this hour of the day. I don't want to buy at this hour after all of this move to the upside. So I have really no choice but to be a seller and then just work the trade out as we go. And this is kind of a good thing. Like we've had a lot of pretty easy trades, relatively easy trades over the last couple of days. Not yesterday. Yesterday was a little harder, but all the days before that, we had some pretty easy trades. We were in and out like same day, like we made our profits easy. It's not always that easy, right? And so I have to show you guys what it's like when it's not easy. And today is not going to be an easy one. But it'll be fun to show you how it works, like and how you can make it profitable. Which I'm excited to show you that. Let's see. I think that's all I really need to cover here. Just know that your pivots are up here. So that's why we have our stop losses up here. Because all the supply that we're working with is either here or the next supply is this area right here. So that this would be technically the next selling area if the market went up to there. That would be kind of the plan with this at this point. Yeah. So I'll have to let this one sit past the hour, obviously, and just work it out similar to yesterday. You'll probably get a text message from me on Telegram in the evening or sometime. Yeah, sometime this evening, you'll get a text message from me. Or sometime this afternoon, just depends on what the market does between now and then. And then Aussie Kiwi, we're staying in that trade. For now, let's go check that one out again. Aussie Kiwi, this is an overnight trade / swing trade. Where did it go? Let's go back to a H1. Let me move all of this. I got a lot of indicators on here. There we go. Yeah, I'm just looking for a continuation of this. It honestly looks like it wants to come and retest this area right here. And then I bet you after the retest of that area, we get a move to the upside. So right here, and it goes up. So that's kind of my plan with that one too. It's just on a little short-term pullback. I think it's down from where I got in last night. It's just down like 12 pips or so, 15 pips or whatever from where I got in. And that's fine. I mean, the trade's supposed to win. Like we're supposed to make like 80 or 90 pips on this trade. So it's not a huge deal. All right, so we'll let that one sit. The other trade that I'm probably going to post is this Kiwi Yen short. I do like this. My only concern with these types of trades, guys, is these swing trades, is even though we're doing everything right, I just don't know if the market has enough to muster to get us through the holidays, right? Like we have today, the rest of today, and we have tomorrow, and then the markets are going into hibernation until next week. And even next week, a lot of people are just going to leave the markets just in general. So even though almost everything on this pair is pointing to a move lower, and we've done our analysis correctly, like there just may not be enough in the market to make it happen. That's all I'm trying to say. It's just recognize that it's just kind of a different time of the year. Can you trade? Yes, absolutely. Should you trade? I think so. Like I see a lot of people just take off December. Like you can absolutely trade this time of the year. It's just a different type of market. You have to be careful not to over leverage your trades and get too big and stuff like that. It's all important stuff to remember. So I'm gonna look for a short here still, nonetheless. I just want to be a little more just recognize that if it doesn't work out, it's not reflective of the strategy not working. It's more like a time of the year. So you can't get that follow through that you need necessarily. Like what I could see happening is maybe it breaks down, but then it only goes down just like 80 pips instead of 200, and then just kind of fizzles out from there. That could happen too. So, all right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap up with that. I'm going to probably post this trade nonetheless, and I'll give you a target and a stop loss to work with. With the pound franc, yeah, I'm just going to have to take that trade or just kind of work that trade this afternoon and pretty much leave it the way I have it set up. And then I'll post on Telegram and post on Telegram later, you know, what we've done with that trade. Hopefully we've got our pullback by then. So, but I really appreciate you guys. Really appreciate this opportunity to trade. I'm excited. We've got a lot of fun stuff happening, and I'm definitely excited to see all of these trades going into and these strategies that we have going into next year, just because, you know, it's going to be a great year. I'm excited. So anyway, guys, appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you guys in the morning.